All right, here we have the Kuiu Pro 6000. This one comes in at obviously 6,000 cubic inches. It's about 6 pounds 2 ounces when we weighed it. It was kind of hard to find the weight on this one because the way Kuiu's website breaks it down is you choose a frame and then you choose a bag and then you choose accessories. But on the scale, got 6 pounds 2 ounces. It is made in Vietnam and it costs $619 for the whole package basically.
Okay.
In terms of the suspension, because we just did a whole video with a 50-pound test and a 100-pound test, about a mile for each. What were your thoughts on the comfort and the suspension and the way the pack rode?
It wasn't my favorite. I think it'll work for a lot of people. But for me, having used other packs, you know, in the past and on this test, it just wasn't my favorite. Reason being, primarily the waist belt. I didn't really like the limited length of the waist belt.
Yeah.
This waist belt is fitted. You know, it's the proper size for me. I'm a 32-inch waist. I think you are as well. I didn't think that it wrapped around the front as much as I would like. It's also not as tall in height as I would like. And the strap and buckle design on the front is just a little more complex than I feel it needs to be. Primarily the shoulder straps, you know, I felt like they were trying to, you know, splay or spread my shoulders outward. And I think that's just because of the profile. Some of the other frames that we looked at in the test of a 50 and 100 pounds were more of a straight over the top of your shoulder type design profile. And I found that I preferred that. Additionally, the straps on these they're thinner. I think
definitely.
They're not your standard 1-inch strap, which I think is standard. Don't hold me to that. But then when reaching for the load lifters, especially when fatigued or under heavy load, I just want to know what I'm reaching for. And on this one, I felt like, you know, it was lacking a little bit. But pack's still capable, just not one of my favorites. Anything to add on that?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I found that I liked this pack a little bit less than Forrest even, I think. Again, I'm pretty skinny. I don't have a lot of extra cushion on me, and so I can be a little more particular about the way that a pack fits me, especially pressure points. For example, these clips were digging to my ribs, and I've worn this pack before on a hunt, and that tore me apart. I was like, that's a deal breaker alone for me personally.
You'll grow up soon, Brady.
One day.
A guy like me with a few more lbs, I can be a little more forgiving. I didn't find those buckles, those clips to be problematic, but you definitely did, and that's worth mentioning.
So if you're a skinnier guy, watch out for these. I will mention that these shoulder straps, you can rotate them to adjust basically where the pack comes over on you, but we played with that and we didn't really find a perfect fit. Then again, you and I are both on, I would say, the thinner side of a lot of users. So, there's a lot of people I know that do like this pack. It works for them. Joner being one of them. He's got a little broader shoulders, just kind of a larger build.
Yeah, he's got that Norwegian build.
Yeah. And he likes this pack, so it could be very much personal preference. But
yeah, absolutely. There's people that love this pack, this frame. Me, 5'9", 170 pounds.
Yeah.
What are you about in that realm?
6 foot 170, yeah.
Yeah, just not my favorite, but it works for a lot of people.
I will say, I fully agree. The waist belt, I think it needs to be bigger. I don't know why pack companies go with a smaller waist belt. I think it's really hard to argue that the large, Cafardo had the best waist belt, but the large style waist belt works a lot better. And then the lumbar pad was a little large for me. And personally, you didn't find this issue. I did not like the rubberized grip on the lumbar pad. And that's something I've heard a couple people agree with. And then a lot of people are like, what are you talking about? I don't care. So
yeah, again, user.
Yep. That's about all I got to say on the suspension itself, aside from the shiftiness that we actually both noticed. And that seems to be pretty across the board from people I've talked to, is that this pack will shift a little more than others.
And I think that's because of the design for the adjustment on that carbon fiber plate that's behind the straps and in front of the bag, if that makes any sense. But that's a connection point between your load-bearing bag and the frame that touches the user. And there's no other connecting point until you get up to the load lifters. And what we found is with 50 pounds, that was also the start of the test. So perhaps we were a little more energetic, but we were getting after it, and the load, the mass would move more freely, and it became a lateral sway that was, fatiguing, in all honesty.
It was noticeable for sure.
I can say that when we, ramped it up to 100 pounds, maybe it was because we were not as energetic, we were not moving as freely or reducing energy. Or if the mass itself was just that much heavier, it took more energy to move it, but it was more stable with the 100 pounds in that lateral sway than it was with 50 pounds for me.
Yep. And I will say, I didn't feel like the padding was maxed out at 100 pounds. I felt like the pack carried the weight fine. But we talked about posture on previous videos. I didn't feel like I had the best posture with this pack, and that translates to more fatigue for me.
Myself as well.
So, like we said, not trying to bash this bag, but it is personal preference, and I wasn't a huge fan.
No.
Comparatively, right?
Comparatively.
This
pack will get it done.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people love it.
Yep.
Just for my body type, my mindset, and yours, not the standout.
Agreed.
So, move on to the bag.
Yeah, let's take a look at the bag, because this is a bit of a strap monster. You've got your large lid, 2 full-size zipper pockets, so plenty of what I call external storage, quick storage without undoing any straps. Open that up. Your main compartment is a clip on top, which I like. It keeps the pack up and tight, but you have to undo that clip, and then you have your drawstring. There's plenty of access from the top, and then you also have a more U-shaped horseshoe zipper that goes all the way down, so there's plenty of access to this bag. Inside of the bag, there's actually retaining straps, so there's straps that will cross and go across right against the frame, and we actually use those to attach the sandbags inside the bag on this pack. And if you are carrying your meat inside your bag, or if you have something of considerable weight that you want to secure to the frame, those do give you the option to do that, and they are removable. So
yeah, this bag has no shortage of options or straps.
And accessories. Kuiu has a lot of great accessories, and you can tell there's attachment points for a lot of those that add a lot of extras, but if you know your pack system, that can be a huge bonus. Couple straps in the front for attaching a bow, and then you have a little pocket up here as well. The common theme is that there is plenty of storage in this pack, right?
Plenty of storage and plenty of compartments that are, specialized.
And adequately sized. So you got a spotting scope compartment here and here, so one on either side. Your water bottle pouch is similar to the Stone Glacier. Like I mentioned, I appreciate a water bottle pouch or a side pouch that sticks out far enough to be usable when the pack is full. Now this one doesn't have any elasticity, and I would assume that you would lose some capacity when the pack is very much full, but still adequate. And that's about it for the bag, I think. I mean,
this bag has the bells and whistles.
Exactly. Lots of bells and whistles, lots of small pockets, lots of internal storage, lots of options. So
move on to the meat shelf.
Yeah, let's cover that real quick. All right, so I've already got the side clips undone. To get into the meat shelf, you undo these bottom clips. Undo your load lifter clips. And then this should just slide right off here. Let me turn this around actually. Just show. Similar to the Stone Glacier and the EXO, you've got a vertical stay. Pack just slides off of its little sleeve there. Undo these side, and you're into it. So, plenty simple design. It's intuitive. Definitely not hard to get to, even if the pack is full. And I think it works fine. The only thing I will say is Kuiu doesn't provide any sort of shelf, like meat bag to frame attachment, I guess. I don't know why I have a hard time saying that, but
I see that. There's no fabric that bridges that lower gap between the bag and the frame.
Yeah, so see if we can show that. Basically, they sell a meat holder. And if I owned this pack, I would definitely get that for 30 bucks or whatever.
I've heard from others that it's a game changer when it comes to carrying a load on the meat shelf. So
Right, because otherwise you have to use the bag to sandwich your meat. There's nothing to hold it up, and you're putting all that tension on your bag that's probably full of gear, and that's your only option. So if you need to get into your bag when you're hauling meat, it's going to be tearing your whole pack apart and redoing it.
So this pack's coming in at a little lower price point, but it's also missing that added feature that the others just come with.
Yeah, yep.
It'll get it done like this, but it doesn't get it done as easily as it would when you do buy that accessory. So
Agreed. I think the last thing I'll mention is the frame itself. It is a pretty stiff carbon fiber frame, and compared to the Stone Glacier and the Exo, this feels a little more like the Kuiu, where the frame is very much planted on your back and not really moving with you. So it's a bit of a different design, different approach to pack frames.
Yep.
And it's kind of user preference. I think that the stiff frame may have to do with the shiftiness, because their attachment points weren't quite the same.
And that slotted shoulder strap adjustment design, in my opinion, can provide a little bit of a pivot point for any load-bearing, bag, we'll say.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it
There's
moving
Velcro
in
on
there.
the lower segment of the straps, but then that can become a pivot point from what I was seeing.
Right, so. All right, that's about all we got for this pack. Again, it wasn't one of our favorites in the comparison test, but there is nothing wrong with it necessarily. A lot of people do love this pack. So that's the Kuiu 6000. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Check out our full video where we take 50 and 100 pounds in all 5 of these packs and compare them real time. If you have any questions, contact us at gearful.com. Thanks for watching.